Navy warships are ready to strike. They are in position. So how would an attack on Syria be carried out? Major General Bob Scales joined us. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Greta.
And I know that you think this last night. I know you thought it was a really dumb idea, to use your words, to do this. But in the event that it does happen, how would you anticipate that it would happen?
It'll be about a 24-hour-long campaign. 6 or so launch platforms, 4 Navy ships and 2 submarines, 1 U.S. and 1 Brit. They'll launch about 200 cruise missiles, Tomahawk cruise missiles, at about 50 targets inside of Syria. These targets will principally be directed at the Syrian Air Force. That's the aircraft and helicopters on the ground, fuel storage sites, ammunition bunkers, command and control, and whatever else sort of fixed sites that they can find that belong to the artillery, to missiles, to multiple rocket launchers, anything to degrade Syria's ability to deliver offensive chemical weapons or to deliver or to continue the offensive against the Syrian people.
All right. Now, I would not expect that we would have loss of American life unless there's something catastrophic that happens in launching the missiles.
No.
All right. But there may be some civilian loss of life in Syria, possibly. I would expect some of that. So I'm trying to measure sort of the cost. The cost of these 200 Tomahawk missiles, I looked online, it's $1.5 million a piece. That's about that's a bit more. That's $350 million.
That's about $350 million. Yeah,
that's not even the infrastructure to do that. That's
not including the command and control, maintenance of the ships at sea, and all the other things, clandestine and overt, that go on in putting together what, in essence, sounds simple, but it is a very, very complicated, difficult operation to put together.
Okay, if this does happen, and let's say that everything goes perfectly, and we walk away from this, what would the military say it has achieved for the country on this one?
I think very little. We may degrade the Syrian Air Force, we may take down some of their helicopters and their fighter jets, but the main threat against the rebels is not the Air Force, it's rockets and artillery. And the Syrians have been very careful to hide those. They're hidden in sometimes in caves and in villages and in woodlines. They're extremely difficult to find. They'll be moving them around, and they're mobile targets, and Tomahawks are not very good against anything that moves, Greg.
And if President Assad is not the target here, they're not trying to do regime change, does that make it profoundly different as well?
Absolutely. I mean, the administration has said they're not going to attack chemical storage facilities for obvious reasons. They can't attack Assad and his inner circle because they move around all the time. Again, you can't hit movable targets with cruise missiles, and so they're going to go after symbolic infrastructure and symbolic military targets with the hope, perhaps, of degrading the Syrian military a little bit. But over the long term, I think the militarily significant consequences of this will be minimal.
Do you have the sense that the military, our military, is advising the president that this is, a smart, strategic thing to do to achieve a good goal, or do you have a sense that sort of the national security is who's telling the president this is a good that this is smart? Obviously, Senator John McCain, who's seen these refugee camps, and has he passionately believes.
I think it's coming principally from the State Department and from the president's inner circle, the National Security Council. Most of the military I've talked to, uniformed military I've talked to, are very skeptical. Not so much that they can't do this. Of course, they can do this. What they're worried about are the strategic consequences, but most importantly, Greta, what happens next?
The one thing that I will say for Senator John McCain, he's one of the few people I know who's actually been there.
Absolutely.
And eyes on the ground to me, as I sort of evaluate what everybody tells me and sort of listen, is that's not an insignificant part of it.
Okay, but let's make a couple of points.
Okay.
This is not a normal war. This is a sectarian civil war. This is the most brutal, horrific type of war that any nation can fight. Civil wars, like our own, tend to exhaust themselves with both sides simply falling. View it as a forest fire that burns itself out. The circumstances of civil wars are horrific, but third-party participation in civil wars never ends well for any of the parties involved.
I think that evaluating this, we should have a robust debate and figure out what we're going to get at the end of it.
Absolutely.
And make a decision from there. General Scales, always nice to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Greta.